Everybody is trying to avoid war in the region. War would be dangerous for everyone. However, the escalation has always come from the Iranian side. Iran attacked tankers in the Gulf, not once but twice. Iran sent ballistic missiles and drones through its proxies, the Houthis, against Saudi Arabia's oil pipeline and against Saudi airports. The Iranians have engaged in aggressive behavior and threatening moves, and so it's really up to the Iranians to de-escalate.
Has there been a direct aggression? You've mentioned the Houthis striking Saudi soil. Have there been attempts directly by Iran against Saudi Arabia in recent time?
The missiles that were launched at Saudi Arabia, more than 230, I believe, so far, and the remotely piloted aircraft that were launched against Saudi Arabia that have done damage to Saudi facilities and that have injured people, especially at the last attack against the airport in Abha, these are all Iranian manufactured and Iranian supplied.
But it's not a direct Iranian attack. Have you seen any attempts?
We haven't seen anything come from Iran directly to Saudi Arabia, but we have seen a lot of Iranian manufactured and supplied equipment coming into Saudi Arabia from Yemen.
Are you in favor of additional sanctions? The US president has announced there will be very tough sanctions against Iran. Do you think sanctioning further is the way to try to de-escalate this crisis, or could it have the opposite effect?
No, we are for sanctions. I believe that anything that can be done to increase the pressure on Iran to change its policies should be done.
What kind of sanctions would you favor, for instance?
I think they're looking at sanctions involving perhaps the gas sector. They're looking at sanctions, other sanctions. And I will leave this to the financial experts and the economic experts. But the idea is to increase the pressure on Iran so that Iran knows that there's a high price it has to pay and that Iran's policies are not acceptable and have to change.
Would you be in favor of a full embargo on Iranian oil exports, for instance?
We are.
Yes?
We are.
Do you think this is feasible?
In terms of the feasibility, again, I leave it to the experts, but Iran's exports have dropped substantially from where they were. Their ability to export is very, very limited. And I think anything that can be done to add to the economic pressures against Iran can only be helpful.
Have they tried to reach out to Saudi Arabia in recent times or not at all?
What they've done is allowed ballistic missiles to be launched against Saudi Arabia and drones to be launched against Saudi oil pipelines. This is what they've done. The Iranians have been very threatening in their behavior, very aggressive in their behavior. They have attacked shipping in the Gulf, and they have provided suicide boats to the Houthis to use in order to disrupt shipping in the Bab al-Mandab area in the Red Sea.
So if they call you tomorrow, you say, I don't want to talk anymore, it's too late?
Look, we've been talking to the Iranians for 40 years. It got us nowhere.
But you don't talk anymore.
It got us nowhere. We reach out our hand, and all we get is death and destruction. We get our embassies attacked, we get our diplomats assassinated, we get terror cells planted in Saudi Arabia.
So no more dialogue.
And so if we wanted to see a change in behavior, we want to see a change in policy.
In regime?
That's up to the Iranian people. We want a change in policy. We don't want a country that commits aggression against us and our allies.